All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle two concepts from the BCBA task list that, they're basically the engine behind all effective teaching. We're talking about B12, stimulus control, and B13, stimulus discrimination. If you can get these two down, you're going to unlock a whole new level of precision in your practice. So let's just jump right in.
Okay, so let me ask you something. You're sitting with a friend, right? Your phone rings, you pick it up. A couple of minutes later, your friend's phone makes the exact same sound, the same ringtone, but you don't even flinch. Why is that? The sound is identical, but your behavior is totally different. This little puzzle gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today, how specific things in our world get this incredible power to turn our behaviors on and off, almost like a light switch.
So, to really get a grip on stimulus control, we've got to go back to basics. We're talking about the foundation of everything we do in ABA, the good old three-term contingency.
You know it. You've probably written it 1,000 times. The A, B, C. The antecedent sets the stage, the behavior happens, and the consequence follows. Now, a lot of the time, the consequence gets all the glory, right? It's what shapes behavior in the long run. But today, we're putting the spotlight squarely on that A, the antecedent. It's way more powerful than you might think.
Okay, so what are we even aiming for when we're teaching? What's the end game? Well, that's what we call stimulus control. It's the desired outcome. So let's unpack that a bit. All stimulus control means is that a behavior is way more likely to happen when a certain stimulus is around, and, well, not so likely when it isn't. The classic example is a red traffic light. That red light has control over your foot hitting the brake. You see red, you stop. You don't see red, you don't stop. Simple as that. The environment is pretty much telling you what to do. And there's a technical name for that red light, for that signal. We call it the discriminative stimulus, or SD for short. You can think of the SD as a big flashing sign from the environment that says, hey you, if you do this specific thing right now, something good is going to happen. It's all about signaling that reinforcement is available. Now you can't have an SD without its counterpart, the S delta. They're like two sides of the same coin. So if the red light is the SD for stopping, what's the green light? That's your S delta for stopping. It's the signal that says, nope, reinforcement is not available for stopping right now. In fact, it's a bad idea. The S delta is basically telling you, don't even think about doing that behavior right now.
All right, so we know our destination is stimulus control. But how do we get there? What's the road we take? Well, that road is the process of stimulus discrimination. This is how we actually build that control.
This is super important, so lean in. Discrimination is the process. It's the teaching procedure. We're literally teaching our learners to tell the difference, to discriminate between the right time to do something and the wrong time. And how do we do it? Through our workhorse, differential reinforcement. We shower the behavior with reinforcement when the SD is there, and we give it absolutely nothing. We put it on extinction when the S delta is there instead. Let's make this real. Picture a classic DTT session. Your RBT puts two pictures on the table, a cat and a dog. They say, point to cat. The picture of the cat, that's our SD. The dog picture, that's our S delta. The learner points to the cat, and what happens? Great job! High five! You got it! Reinforcement city. But what if they point to the dog? Nothing. Crickets. We just move on. By doing this over and over through this discrimination training, we build stimulus control. Pretty soon, just seeing that cat picture makes the learner point to it almost automatically.
Okay, everybody, listen up. This next part is where so many people get tripped up on the exam. We have to talk about the SD's tricky cousin, the motivating operation, or MO. Being able to tell these two apart is a non-negotiable skill, and trust me, the exam absolutely loves to see if you can do it.
And honestly, it all boils down to this one question. If you can remember this, you're golden. When you're looking at an antecedent, you have to ask yourself, does this thing signal that reinforcement is now available? Or does it change the value of that reinforcement? Does it make me want it more or want it less? Availability versus value. That's the whole game.
This chart is your best friend. Look, the SD's function is all about signaling availability. It's related to differential availability. But the MO, its function is to alter the value of a reinforcer. It's about differential effectiveness. The SD evokes a behavior because of your learning history, but the MO is what makes you want something in the first place. I love this analogy. A restaurant menu is the perfect SD. It tells you, hey, we have burgers available to order, but it's that hungry feeling in your gut, the MO, that actually makes the burger sound valuable and makes you want to order it.
Okay, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty.
We're going to walk through a classic exam-style question so you can see exactly how to apply this thinking when the pressure's on. All right, here we go. A child who normally loves crackers just finished a big lunch and is totally full. The RBT puts a cracker on the table and asks, "What's this?" The question is, in this specific situation, what is the function of the child being full? So let's pull out our magic question. Does being full change the cracker's availability, or does it change its value? Let's break it down step by step. First, does the kid being full signal that a cracker is now available? Nope. The cracker physically sitting on the table does that. That's our SD. Okay, next question. Does being full change how much the kid wants the cracker? Oh, you bet it does. It totally tanks the value of that cracker as a reinforcer. This is what we call a reinforcer abolishing effect. And anything that has an abolishing effect on a reinforcer's value is, by definition, a motivating operation, specifically an abolitioning operation, or AO. All right, let's wrap this up and put these tools in your toolkit. I'm going to give you the high-yield takeaways you absolutely need to remember, not just for the exam, but for your practice every single day. Here's what you need to burn into your brain. First, stimulus control is the outcome. It's the goal. Second, stimulus discrimination is the process. It's how you get to the goal. Third, an SD signals that reinforcement is available. And fourth, an MO alters the value of that reinforcement. And look, why does this matter so much? Because at the end of the day, being a great BCBA means being a great teacher. And building these super clear discriminations is how we make learning faster, more efficient, and ultimately more successful for our clients.
So if there's one thing you walk away with, let it be this little mantra. Discrimination creates control. Say with me, discrimination creates control. The process is what gives you the outcome. Once you truly master this relationship, you're not just getting ready to nail an exam question. You're becoming a more precise, more powerful, and way more effective clinician. So my question to you is, how are you going to use this to build an even clearer discrimination for one of your learners tomorrow?